Hello everyone! Today I got some more updates on the prototype to share with you. More specifically the new crafting system, new features and a bunch of quality improvements. My name is Simon and I am the game director here at Far North Entertainment. Welcome to Devlog number 5, Crafting and Betrayal. And don't forget to give that subscribe button a visit when it is over. Let's see what we got. The greatest addition to the prototype since last week is by far the new crafting system and the new content that comes with it. So as you can see here in the inventory, I have 4 new resources that you can find outside in the world in the boxes, in the loot boxes. And these resources are scrap metal, plastic, chemicals and electronic components. And all of these 4 materials can be used to craft different things, apart from the standard things like bullets and arrows for your weapons and grenades that we showed up in last episode. You will also be able to produce health packs, which will heal your character when you're at low health. A siren, which will be placed somewhere in the world and which will act as a sound decoy to draw zombies in and clear other areas of the map. You will also be able to build C4 explosives, which are used in order to blow down walls, in order to create escape routes and stuff like that. And then there's also a defibrillator item, and the idea behind this item is that it will be used to instantly revive teammates instead of waiting those 5 seconds. The crafting system is based on the one used in Starbound, in which you have a list of receipts which you can craft, and if you click one of those receipts you can see what materials you need to craft it. You can then choose how many you want to craft and press the button, and this will consume materials from your inventory and place the new crafted item in there instead. A possible idea for the future is for different types of workbenches to have their own list of receipts. So if you want to build a weapon, you have to do that in the weapon assembly machine, for example. Another feature that was implemented in last week is the new melee attack. By pressing spacebar, the player will play one of 4 random animations and punch the zombie. This punch is very weak. It is extremely risky because it barely outranges the zombies, and it also deals just a tiny bit of damage. You have to punch a zombie 4 or 5 times in order to kill it, so this is just merely a last resort. If you really are out of ammo and there's one zombie in your way, it might be helpful. Or you can use it alongside the next feature in order to slap a friend that just did something incredibly stupid. Because we have also introduced full friendly fire into the game. So now you can also punch your friends, you can shoot them, and you can throw grenades at them. This adds a new element of caution to the game and makes it a little bit more difficult. But we will probably let players decide themselves when hosting a server if friendly fire will be on or not. I will also present some of the major visual and audio improvements of the game during the last week, and one that you might have already noticed is the laser sight. We got a lot of feedback during testing that people felt that it was hard to perceive what their friends were doing when they were playing. It was hard to see where they were aiming, and if you tried to communicate, for example, look at that place over there was no real way to do it. So we implemented this laser sight in order to give the players a way to point at each other and to better illustrate what they are doing. Another overhaul that has been done is the zombie death particle systems. These now spawn the normal blood particles as before, but they also emit a mesh. It's either an arm or a leg, or the torso or the head of the zombie, and these also fly out with a trail of blood following them. And this is just to make the killing of zombies feel a little more impactful and a little more varied, and also a bit more meaty, We have also added in particle effects for when the player takes damage, both when getting hit by zombies and when getting hit by other players. One of the more important visual improvements is that animations can now be synchronized over the network. Previous to this version of the prototype, when another player did something other than running, you couldn't see that animation actually taking place. Now when another player punches or reloads, or when another player dies, you actually see the animations as well. This is also related to one of the big sound improvements, which is that you can also hear the player do stuff like reloading and taking damage and stuff like that. And we have also implemented a system to make sound fall off with distance, so no longer do you hear another player 100 meters away shooting their crossbow. The closer your friends are, the more you will hear them. Based on suggestions from the testers, we have also implemented arrows in the UI that points to players that are not visible in the screen at the moment. Because there were a lot of people who felt that it was hard to navigate around the map with your friend and communicating if you didn't know exactly where the other person was at all times. And the idea is that this arrow will at least give you a hint of where your friends are at. The biggest addition since last week in terms of sound improvements is the zombie horde sounds. And even though it's just a rough first iteration, it's much better than just the zombies being completely silent at all times. There are also some new sounds for player taking damage and punching. We have also spent some time optimizing the zombies even further. This has been done primarily in two ways. The first and most important improvement is that zombies are now updated by one central script which manages all of the zombies instead of having one script each. And this has allowed us to create a function which alters the updates of the zombies. So now half of the zombies are updated one frame and then the next half is updated the second frame. This means that if you run the game at 60 frames per second, the zombies will be moved at 30 frames per second. And this effectively cuts the performance loss in half, so we can now have double the amount of zombies in the scene and still having the same pressure on the CPU. The second major improvement to zombie performance is the animation script. Before, all the zombies in the scene were animated even if they were not in the screen. And now we cull those zombies, so now approximately if you have 4,000 zombies in the scene, which is the case in all the footage you've seen here today, maybe 500 are animated at the same time, and this has effectively improved our performance by perhaps 15-20%. And that pretty much summarizes the stuff that we have done the last week that is now in the prototype, in the master branch. And there are also some stuff that are not in that are being worked on as well. For example, Anders, our tech director, has been working all week on the new world system, which will make it possible for us to construct walls on the fly and to build stuff on the map. It will also be the first step in creating a map editor program that Kevin will use to create the new world map. The goal is to make a map editor that is highly flexible and highly user-friendly, so that we can ship this as part of the game when it releases. And maybe we could even have some kind of Steam workshop where people can share their maps with one another. This is far into the future, so it's not a promise, but it is a potential future idea. Up until this point, every single devlog for this game has had the same map present. And possibly this is the last devlog in which you will see this map, because the next week will be heavily focused on the new world model and the new system for creating the maps. And hopefully we will have a new draft of the final map, or at least a part of it, ready for next week's devlog. And that's it for this week's devlog. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing some of the stuff that we have done since last week, and that you at least share a small part of the enthusiasm that we do for the progress that has been made. I hope to see you next week. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Have a good day.